I decided to pick 2 questions out of the slew that I talked about earlier. So you talked about the fact that, a woman decides who she will sleep with and who she won't sleep with. And the reason why men gain value when they sleep with a woman is because of how much they work hard versus women who just have to be convinced. So let me ask you, in the corporate, let's put it in a corporate, state. Let's edit that out. But let's create a corporate idea, let's say, right? A corporate vision. Shall I edit that whole part out? Okay. Let's put this in like a business setting, right? Let's say you want someone to invest in your business, right? You create a PowerPoint, you work hard, you create your product, you do all of these things, right? And then you come to the investors and you tell them, yo, this is my product, this is what it does, this is how it does this thing. And you convince the investors to invest in your business. Obviously, these investors have a great degree of money, right? But the reason they're going to invest in you is because they're going to benefit, essentially. So they are not losing value by investing in a good product that they believe in. And you have spent the time to convince them of the value of your product, right? So those investors are essentially not stupid. Isn't that the point? So if you bring that in the context of relationships, if a woman has to literally listen to a PowerPoint presentation on why she has to consider you, let's say, and she has to deal with your advances for weeks, maybe on end, you buying her stuff, you taking her places, and she says, you know what, I want this, I'm benefiting from this, right? Let me, maybe sleep with this person, let me date that person. How is that her not having how is that taking away value from her? Because she has decided that she is also benefiting. Because I believe that it's a mutual benefit type of situation, right? You get, I get. We're both gaining. So why does that situation suddenly take away from the woman but give to the man?
The reason why it takes away, basically, first and foremost, when you are talking about sexual, let's say, cooperation, the assessment that you can give, that the question that you have given can be applied to a prostitute. A prostitute will link up with a man. She wants money from that man. Okay? That man wants sex from that prostitute. Okay? And so, if he gives her money, she will give him her body. Now, the idea that it takes away from a woman is because your body, ideally, is supposed to be the most preserved thing about yourself. And so, if your body is a commodity, and if it is given to everyone, it loses value the more people have access to it. Because I'll give you a very simple example. If, say, you have a diamond, and this diamond is basically used by every single person who wants to use it. And as soon as you're done using it, just put it here and the next person will come and use it. Does it stop being a diamond? Yes. No, it does not stop being a diamond. But does its value, because of the accessibility that everybody has to it, go down? Yes. Because essentially, whenever I need to use it, I can just come and pick it up. But if you create exclusivity to that diamond and say, no, this is the price, or you can only access it if you're this type of person, meaning if you're a man, you have to, let's say, have a certain net worth to gain access to that diamond, or you have to have a certain amount of connections to gain access to that diamond, then its value goes up. And so if you are saying that by me having a benefit from the interaction, it should not take away value from me, it does, because you're creating an excuse for you to basically make something that should be as private or as exclusive as possible. You're trying to make it as open to everybody as possible, while saying that, you know what, it should still maintain its value. Because we have no respect for things that are accessible to everybody, but we have a huge amount of respect for things that are not accessible to everyone.
Okay, so I have one more yes or no question for you based off what you have just said. Is community dick less valuable than, let's say, a man who has a body count of 2?
Is community dick less valuable than a guy who has a body count of 2?
Yes.
No.
But
Because-
your argument is basically that the body is a temple and you must preserve it.
The body of a woman is a temple.
So the body of a man
is a piece of trash.
Okay, so what is so abhorrent about a man's body that when it enters a woman's body, it soils it? It soils this temple and lowers its value.
It soils the temple because it is not there just to give, it is there to also take. Because, like I said, men attain more and more value with the more women they can conquer. Because for us, it is a process of, you meet somebody, you go through an entire process of convincing them. Once you convince them, then you can gain access to them. And so, for us, because it is a process of conquering, and because it's a process of attainment, it is almost the equivalent of barbarians who come into a beautiful city and take over the city. Because the barbarians have taken over the city, they are now much more valuable because of what they have conquered. But if the barbarians conquered nothing, if you had a man who has never been able to convince any woman to sleep with him, that man basically is looked down on in society. But if you have a man who has been able to convince this woman, that woman, the other woman, the other woman, and the other woman, he has been able to conquer all of those temples and elevate himself.
So, why wouldn't you change your idea about approaching women from the idea of conquest to the idea of consent, of having a consensual relationship? Because conquest, you're taking over, like you've said, you've invaded, you've taken over. But if you come and pitch me your idea, and your idea benefits you and it benefits me, and I say, okay, right? And I give you what you want, because I'm also benefiting from that. How have you conquered me if I have also gotten what I wanted in that situation? I believe that it is more, the idea is closer to not necessarily a business transaction, but you've pitched me an idea that is of value, and I have consented to that idea of value. Therefore, I am benefiting, if not as much as you, probably even more, right? In order for me to consent. So I think the idea should be shifted less from the idea of conquest to more like mutual benefit.
I do understand that it is mutual benefit, because the thing is, as men, in order for us to achieve sexual access, we have to play it as mutually beneficial. And that is, let me give you a simple context of a guy vibing a girl. There are guys out there who go to a girl, tell the girl, hey, look, I will marry you if you let me sleep with you. And so the girl sees the marriage as the goal. She's like, okay, if this guy gives me, if I give this guy my body, and if I give this guy my body, and this happens, he will marry me, and so therefore I will achieve what I want. That is a scenario in which your idea of mutually beneficial arguments comes in. Now, if I do manage to sleep with the girl, and then after that, the marriage does not happen, who has been played?
The girl.
The girl has been played. Now, why body count is important is if all of these guys have managed to successfully convince you to give them your body, and you have not, let's say, attained the primary purpose of relationships, which is, for a woman, it is marriage and intimacy. For a man, it is sexual access, also an intimacy, but it's primarily sexual access, because it's almost impossible to convince a guy to get married and say that in this marriage you'll never have sex with this woman, but you'll be married to her and you have no access to any other woman. And so, if you have not attained that primary goal, it is very difficult for you to convince society that I did get something out of this, and what I got is not just of value to me, but also of value to all of you.
Okay. So, what if the girl just wanted an orgasm? Or 3?
That is fine. But like I said, with every orgasm and with every sexual opportunity that you decide to take on comes a cost. Because like I said, to the men, body count is important. Body count might not be important to women, but you need to understand that at some point you will have to convince a guy to put a ring on it. Okay? And so you have to present to him what he believes is valuable. Okay? And same thing to the guy. If a guy wants a woman to marry him, he has to present to her what she will believe is valuable. It is not just about, oh, I'll do whatever with my life, I'll do all of these things, and then I'll come present what's left over to you, and then you will see it as valuable. Because at the end of the day, the aim of all of these relationships, the aim of all of this sexual activity is to find our way to our promised partner.
Okay.